Maya Carter had 3 rules for survival in New York. Stay unnoticed, stay quiet, and never let anyone see the cracks. But at 6:14 a.m., all 3 shattered with a single sound. Her name whispered through her locked apartment door. A man's voice, low, controlled, impossible. "Maya, we need to talk." Her pulse spiked. No one knew where she lived. No one should. She edged closer, breath trembling, then saw something beneath the door, the shadow of a man in an expensive suit, and a grocery bag dripping rainwater. Why was her boss outside her apartment? And how did he know she hadn't eaten? Rain blurred the world outside Maya Carter's Harlem window, turning the streetlights into trembling halos. Wind pushed against the building like a tired sigh, rattling the thin panes. Inside her studio apartment, the only sound was the hum of her old refrigerator, an empty hum, mocking her. Maya stood in front of it with one hand braced on the door, the other gripping her phone. The light inside flickered over shelves holding nothing but a half-used bottle of ketchup and a forgotten packet of noodles. Her stomach tightened, not just from hunger, but from something heavier, guilt. Her mother had texted earlier, "Pain's getting worse. Don't worry about groceries. I'll manage with tea." A lie. Maya knew it. She lowered her gaze to the note she'd typed out. "Groceries I need this week but can't afford, from Mom. How much can you chip in?" She listed everything carefully, ashamed with every line. Instant noodles, $3 bread, generic painkillers, heating pads, fruits if paycheck allows, eggs if on sale. The list looked pathetic. It looked like failure. But her mother needed the items, and Maya's paycheck, after rent, insurance, and loan deductions, barely stretched across the week. Her fingers trembled as she typed her brother's name, Jordan Carter. Her phone's screen flickered, the cracked corner catching the blue light of the storm. She hit send. The email swooshed away. Maya closed the fridge gently, forehead pressing against the cold door. Her body felt heavy, weak, as if the hunger had settled into her bones. She pushed herself away and shuffled to her bed. Rain drummed the fire escape outside, and exhaustion dragged her under before she could think about anything else. She didn't see the notification pop up. Sent to Ethan Hale, E.H. Hale, at kaletech.com. Morning light was merciless. It fell through the blinds in accusing stripes, landing across her rumpled blanket and aching body. Maya blinked against the sting in her eyes. Her throat felt dry, her brain foggy. She reached for her phone. 37 new work emails. A few from her brother, and then she saw it. Her breath stopped. Sent 1:43 a.m. To Ethan Hale. Her stomach flipped so violently she pressed her hand to her mouth. No, this couldn't be real. Her pulse roared in her ears as she tapped into the message. Her grocery list stared back at her. Her private struggle, her humiliation, her desperation. Sent to Ethan Hale, CEO of Kaletech Innovations, billionaire tech genius, her boss. The man who barely spoke to anyone unless forced. The man whose presence froze entire conference rooms without raising his voice. He had her list. Her heart raced so hard it hurt. She shot out of bed, pacing her tiny space. Should she email again? Apologize? Say it was a mistake? Pretend she was hacked? Pretend it was a joke? A knock shattered her spiral. A slow, Steady knock. Not the hurried fists of her landlord, not the thumping of the kid upstairs. This was controlled, precise, deliberate. Her breath hitched. No one knew her address. Her building was old, quiet. No visitors ever came without notice. She crept toward the door, barefoot on creaking floorboards. Another knock, deeper, more sure of itself. Then, a voice. A low, unmistakable voice she had only ever heard through thick office glass and polished boardroom walls. Maya. Opened the door. Her entire body froze. No, it couldn't be. It couldn't be him. She looked through the peephole with trembling hands. Her heart stopped. There he was, Ethan Hale. Tall, impeccably dressed, rain-soaked hair falling across his brow. His white dress shirt clung to the edges of his tailored coat. He stood as the hallway belonged to him, as he belonged everywhere. And in his hand, a grocery bag. Maya's throat tightened as she unlocked the door slowly. It creaked open, revealing the man she never imagined would be on her doorstep. He looked at her, not the polite glance of a CEO to an employee, but a deep, assessing look that made her feel seen and exposed, all at once. "Maya?" he said quietly, holding out the bag. "You should have told me." Her mouth barely worked. "He told you..." "What?" "That you needed this." His tone wasn't pity. It wasn't charity. It was something far scarier. Something gentle. She stepped back as he held the bag toward her. Inside, she saw fresh bread, fruit, painkillers, eggs, soup. Things she didn't even put on the list. Her vision blurred. Not from tears, but from disbelief. Her CEO was here. Her CEO somehow knew she needed help. And he was standing inches from her door, staring at her like she was a problem he was suddenly determined to solve. "How did you..." She swallowed. "Why are you here?" His answer was simple. Too simple. "You emailed me." Her breath shattered. Lightning flashed behind him, illuminating the hallway like a warning. "Maya," he said softly, "we need to talk." Interesting so far? Hit subscribe so you don't miss what happens next when Maya finally lets him inside. Also, tell us where you're watching from.
Maya stepped back the moment Ethan extended the grocery bag, her hands instinctively curling behind her. The hallway felt too narrow, too intimate with him standing there, rain dripping from his coat, eyes steady and unreadable. "I can't accept that," she said, forcing steel into her voice even though her stomach twisted painfully. "It was a mistake. The email wasn't meant for you." Ethan didn't blink. "I know." "Then why?" "Because you needed help." The words were calm, but there was an undercurrent, something firm, something immovable. Her chest tightened. "Mr. Hale, I didn't ask you to come here." "You didn't have to," he said softly. That tone, quiet, almost gentle, was far more dangerous than anger. It reached places she didn't want anyone near. She shook her head and backed further into her apartment. "I'm fine," she lied. His eyes dropped to the thin sweater hanging off her shoulders, the visible outline of her collarbone, the cold red tint on her fingertips. "No," he said, quiet but absolute. "You're not." Before she could form another refusal, a door slammed open down the hall. "Maya!" her landlord barked, stomping toward her. "I've been knocking since last night." Her stomach dropped. Not now. Ethan shifted, subtle but unmistakable, positioning himself slightly between them. Not blocking, just present. Her landlord didn't seem to notice. His eyes were on her, annoyed, impatient. "Rent was due Monday. I can't keep giving you extra days." Maya felt heat rush to her face. I know. I'm working on it. My paycheck comes Friday." "I can't wait till Friday," he cut in. Ethan's head tilted. "Excuse me," he said, voice calm but laced with steel. "This is the best place for this conversation." Her landlord froze mid-word. Maya's heart leapt to her throat. "Mr. Hale!" He didn't look at her. His eyes stayed on the landlord, measured, cold, and terrifyingly controlled. "This tenant is on her way to work. If you need to speak with her, do it during appropriate hours, not at 7 a.m. in a hallway." The landlord swallowed, stepping back. I didn't realize." "You did. Now leave." The man retreated faster than he'd arrived. Maya stared at Ethan, stunned. "You can't just... He's my landlord. That's not your call." "Maybe not, but I made it." Silence swelled between them, thick, charged, confusing. Maya's pulse thudded unevenly. She finally lowered her eyes and took the grocery bag, not because she accepted his help, but because she needed to end this moment before her voice shook. "Thank you," she whispered. "But please, don't come here again." Ethan didn't answer. He only watched her for a beat too long, eyes moving over her face as if memorizing something he shouldn't. And then he nodded. "I'll see you at the office." Her commute to Midtown felt like walking through fog. Her chest still buzzed with tension, embarrassment from the email, humiliation from her landlord, and something else she refused to name when it came to Ethan. By the time she reached the sleek Caltech building, the lobby buzzed with morning energy. She pushed through the glass doors, trying to merge into the flow of employees. Except she couldn't. Not today. Because people were staring. She caught it in fragments. 2 women in HR are whispering by the elevator. A guy from accounting glances at her, then quickly looks away. Someone from the design team mumbling, "Is that her?" Her stomach clenched. What did they see? What did they know? The elevator opened. She stepped in, and as the doors began to close, a pair of coworkers slipped in beside her. Kendra Brooks, sleek ponytail, precise eyeliner, sharp gaze, leaned close to another manager, whispering loudly enough for Maya to hear, "So that's how some people get ahead." A few soft snickers followed. Her throat tightened, but she stared straight ahead. She wouldn't give them the reaction they wanted. When the elevator opened on the 23rd floor, she stepped out quickly, inhaling as if she'd been underwater. Her desk felt too bright, too visible. She sat, opened her laptop, and pretended not to notice the sideways glances drifting through the open office space. She had just taken her first sip of water when her phone buzzed. From executive office, subject, meeting, 9:10 a.m. Her pulse skipped. She checked the clock. 9:08. Great. Her footsteps echoed down the hall towards Ethan's office, a glass-walled corner suite overlooking Manhattan. When she reached it, his assistant nodded. "He's expecting you. You can go right in." Maya inhaled once, steadied herself, then pushed the door open. Ethan Hale stood by his window, back to her, hands tucked into his pockets. Morning light outlined him in sharp gold, casting long shadows across the polished floor. He didn't turn. "Close the door, Maya." She did. For a moment, he didn't move. And she didn't either. Something electric filled the silence, the same something she'd felt in her hallway. Finally, he turned. His eyes swept her face with a softness she didn't understand. "I wanted to make sure you got to work okay," he said. Her breath caught. "You didn't have to. Check." "I wanted to." Her heartbeat tripped. He stepped closer, only slightly, but enough to make the room feel smaller. "About this morning," she began. "I'm sorry if the email—" He cut in gently. "I'm not here about the email." Her brow furrowed. Then he asked, "Tell me, Maya, what did you eat today?" The question hit harder than any accusation. It wasn't professional. It wasn't expected. It wasn't safe. But it was the first time she realized Ethan Hale wasn't done with her story.
The question lingered in the air like static. "Tell me, Maya, what did you eat today?" Maya's pulse kicked against her ribs. The view of Manhattan glittered behind Ethan, the kind of skyline she used to dream under. But here, in his office, the city felt far away, too far from the truth, tightening her chest. She lifted her chin. "I had breakfast." A lie. A thin, fragile lie that trembled more in her voice than she wanted. Ethan studied her, his blue eyes narrowing just slightly. He took one step closer, then another, until he stood within arm's reach, close enough for her to see the faint shadow of stubble on his jaw, close enough to feel the warmth rolling off him in slow, dangerous waves. "What did you eat again?" he asked, low, unhurried, cutting through every wall she tried to hold up. Maya swallowed. "Toast." "Toast," he repeated, like he was testing the word for cracks. "Yes," she whispered. Ethan's gaze dropped, slowly, deliberately, to her hands. They were clasped in front of her, but her knuckles were pale from pressure. He looked back at her. "You're lying?" Her breath faltered. Heat rushed up her neck, but before she could respond, he stepped even closer. A subtle shift, but enough to send sparks snapping in the small space between them. "Maya," he murmured, voice dipping into something almost intimate, "you don't have to pretend with me." Her throat tightened. Her mind screamed to step back, but her feet didn't move. His presence was overwhelming, solid, controlled, focused entirely on her. "I'm not pretending," she said softly. He tilted his head, studying her as though she were a puzzle he intended to solve. "Your hands are shaking." She glanced down. They were. Her body betrayed her, trembling with exhaustion, nerves, and something she didn't dare to name. Before she could pull them away, Ethan reached out, slowly, giving her a chance to retreat, and gently took her right hand. Warmth shot through her. It wasn't a romantic gesture. His touch wasn't soft. It was assessing, clinical, searching. But the effect was devastating all the same. "Maya," he said quietly, "when you're hungry, your fingers tremor like this." Her heart stumbled. "How do you—" He said, "I pay attention. Too much attention." She pulled her hand back quickly, the heat of his skin lingering against her palm. Her breath felt unsteady. "This isn't appropriate. It would be inappropriate if I didn't care." The air thinned around her. Her lips parted, but no sound came out. And that's when the knock came. The office door swung open without permission, Kendra Brooks leading the way, followed by two colleagues, Ryan from operations and Marcy from finance. Kendra stopped mid-step. Her eyes swept the room, catching the distance between Ethan and Maya, the charged air, the almost touch tension. A slow, triumphant smile touched her lips. "Oh," Kendra said brightly, her voice coated in sweet poison. "Sorry to interrupt." Maya stepped back instantly, putting space between herself and Ethan. Heat rushed to her face. Ryan raised a brow, barely hiding his smirk. "Didn't mean to barge in."
Ethan's face hardened into CEO mode, calm, controlled, ice cold. "What do you need?" he asked, voice slicing through the pretense. "Just dropping off the weekly metrics," Kendra said, placing a folder on his desk with theatrical care. "We didn't want to intrude," but she already had. Her gaze flicked between Ethan and Maya with barely disguised jealousy. Marcy whispered something under her breath, and Ryan snorted quietly. Maya felt her stomach twist. This is exactly what she had feared. Ethan's jaw ticked. He took one step forward, subtle but protective. "If you have business with me," he said, voice smooth but lethal, "you bring it to the front desk first. You don't walk into my office without permission." Kendra blinked. "We thought. You thought wrong." A shadow of embarrassment crossed her face. Ryan and Marcy straightened, suddenly rigid. Ethan continued, "Next time you enter this office without being called in, it will be HR handling the conversation, not me." The room froze. Maya stared at him in shock. Ethan had never spoken like that to them. Never, in the 3 years she had worked here. Kendra's eyes flashed, not with fear, but with something darker, something burning. Something aimed at Maya. "Understood," Kendra said tightly, before turning to go, but at the door she paused and looked back with a venomous little smile. "We'll be more careful about timing." The implication hung heavy in the air. Ethan's expression didn't falter, but Maya felt her stomach sink. When the door closed, silence rushed in, thick, stunned, crackling with leftover tension. Maya exhaled shakily. "You didn't have to defend me like that." "Yes," he said, stepping closer again. "I did." Her pulse fluttered. "People are going to talk. Let them." "You can't say that," she whispered. "You're the CEO." "And I'm your employee," he said gently. "Not my secret." Her chest tightened. She didn't know what this was. She didn't understand it. She didn't trust it, but she felt it, every charged inch of it. Ethan watched her closely, as if searching for something in her expression. Then his voice softened, dropping just enough to make her breath catch. "Maya," he said quietly, "do you trust me?" The question hit like a collision. What happens when Maya decides whether trust is safe or dangerous?
Maya made herself small the next morning. Not invisible. She knew she could never be as invisible as she wished, but quiet enough to slip through the office without brushing up against anything that might cause attention. After the tension in Ethan's office, after Kendra's dagger smile, after the electricity of his question, "Do you trust me?" she needed distance, needed air, needed to disappear. The 23rd floor of KL Tech Innovations didn't allow that. Coworkers watched her with the twitchy interest of people waiting for drama to unfold. Conversations softened when she passed. Keyboards clicked louder. Even footsteps echoed differently today, sharper, more deliberate. When Maya reached her desk, her mouse pad had been moved. Her pen was missing. Her coffee mug, white ceramic with the KL Tech logo, sat cracked down the side, as if it had been knocked over or dropped. A hairline fracture ran through the center like a warning. She stared at it, fingers brushing the jagged line. The break felt symbolic of everything around her. Quiet pressure, quiet fractures, quiet suspicion. She set it aside and powered on her computer. Across the room, Kendra leaned against a desk, arms crossed, eyes flicking up every time Maya lifted her head. Marcy and Ryan hovered nearby, whispering. glancing at her with the same smug little spark she'd seen yesterday. Maya inhaled sharply and focused on her monitor. Stay small. Stay quiet. Stay unnoticed. She repeated the mantra like a shield, but it didn't stop the cold draft that slipped through the hallway every time someone walked behind her. It didn't stop the strange tightness in her chest. It didn't stop her pulse from reacting when she caught a familiar figure through the glass office walls. Ethan Hale, moving through the corridor like a quiet storm. He was talking to an executive, expression unreadable, shoulders tense, but his eyes, those sharp, searching eyes, drifted toward her desk more than once. She looked away each time. Distance. She needed distance. At 11:20 a.m., Maya left her desk to head to the design floor for a quick file handoff. Her stomach cramped with hunger, but she ignored it. The hallway was bustling, people carrying coffee cups, clipboards, and half-formed stress. She kept her head down, steps quick. She didn't see the spill. Someone had knocked over a water bottle, leaving a slick patch across the polished marble. Maya's foot hit the water, sliding out from under her with a gasp. She pitched forward and collided with something solid. Arms closed around her waist, strong hands steadied her. The world snapped back into place, and she looked up straight into Ethan Hale's eyes. He must have come around a corner at the exact moment she slipped. His grip tightened briefly, making sure she was upright before he eased her back onto her feet. "You okay?" he asked, voice low, breath warm against her cheek. Her heart hammered wildly. His hand was still at her waist. The proximity was too much, too intimate, too dangerous. I'm fine," she breathed. It was just water." He looked down at the spill, then back at her. "You could have been hurt." "It's fine," she whispered again, but her voice shook. His hand stayed on her waist a beat too long before he finally released her. And that's when he looked past her. Kendra stood several feet away, holding a coffee cup and watching the scene unfold with narrowed eyes and a tight smile. Ryan and Marcy flanked her like shadows, drinking in every detail. Kendra raised her brows, mock sympathy painted across her face. "Oh no! Are you okay, Maya? Slippery floors can be dangerous." Her tone wasn't concern. It was accusation, implication, a weapon. Maya stepped away from Ethan immediately. "I'm fine," she said, forcing steadiness into her voice. But Kendra wasn't done. She looked at Ethan now, tone dripping with false innocence. "Mr. Hale, you're always in the right place at the right time when Maya needs something. Lucky her." Maya felt her cheeks burn. Ethan's jaw tightened. "Is there something you'd like to say, Ms. Brooks?" Kendra tilted her head. "Of course not. Just observing." She took a slow sip of her coffee. "Things get misinterpreted easily around here, especially when they involve proximity." A sharp warning, a promise, a threat. "Maya," Ethan said softly, ignoring Kendra entirely, "do you need to sit down?" "I said I'm fine," she repeated, more firmly this time. She walked away before her voice cracked again. She forced herself forward, down the hallway, around the corner, all the way back to her desk. Her legs shook the entire way. When she sat down, her heart finally started to settle, only for something else to jolt her back into panic. Her project folder was open on her screen. She hadn't opened it. The timestamp read, "Accessed 10:54 a.m." But she had been at her desk at 10:54. She hadn't clicked anything. She hadn't touched her computer. And yet,
A file inside the folder was highlighted. Her algorithm notes draft. The one she'd been building quietly. The one she hadn't shared with anyone yet. Maya frowned, moving her mouse to click it open. Lines of code blinked on the screen. Familiar, but not exactly how she left them. A few edits appeared in the logic flow. Minor. Subtle. Too subtle for anyone unfamiliar with her work to write. Her breath caught. Someone had been in her file. Someone had touched her idea. Someone had crossed a line she didn't even know could be crossed. The office buzzed round her, loud and bright, but she felt suddenly cold, exposed. Her skin prickled as she looked toward the hallway again. Kendra was watching her, smiling.
The conference room on the 27th floor buzzed with artificial confidence. People tapping pens, flipping slides, whispering strategies they barely understood. Maya sat at the long glass table, hands clasped tightly, breathing through the dizziness pooling beneath her ribs. She hadn't eaten since yesterday? The day before? Hunger blurred time. Stress erased the rest. Kendra sat across from her, lips curved in a crescent of deliberate sweetness. Ryan and Marcy hovered like shadows. Ethan stood at the head of the table, arms crossed, gaze sweeping the room. Maya tried to focus on the digital slides as Kendra presented last quarter's numbers, but her vision flickered. The room seemed to tilt slightly, shadows stretching across the walls. "Maya," Ethan said suddenly, pulling her attention, "what's your update on the workflow integration?" Her throat tightened. She reached for her notes, then froze. The words slid across the page, but didn't land. Her mind moved through fog. Her pulse thudded against her temples. She swallowed, willing the room to stop spinning. The integration, the system." She blinked. Her vision fractured. Faces blurred, lights streaked. The room tilted fully now, as if the floor had dropped an inch. She heard a voice, Kendra's, faint and smug. "If she can't handle the workload, we can reassign." Then everything collapsed. Her body hit the floor before she realized she was falling. The last thing she saw before darkness swallowed her was Ethan's expression, shattering into something terrified. She woke to warmth. Soft, heavy warmth pressing against her skin, like she was wrapped inside a cloud instead of the thin blanket she owned at home. She blinked slowly, eyes adjusting to muted lighting. A low crackle of rain tapped against tall windows. Not her apartment. This air smelled different. Clean, expensive, faintly cedar and citrus. She pushed herself up slightly and winced at the ache in her head. Then she saw him. Ethan Hale sat beside the bed, yes, a bed, leaning forward with his elbows on his knees. His coat was gone, his sleeves were rolled up, his tie sat discarded on the floor, and he was staring at her with eyes she had never seen on him before. Raw, worried, shaken. "Maya." His voice was almost broken. "God, you scared me." Her breath hitched. She'd never heard Ethan sound like that. Never heard him unguarded. Never heard him anything except controlled. She glanced around the room. Sleek gray walls, floor-to-ceiling windows, a hidden kitchenette, dimmed lights. She recognized the design instantly. This wasn't a hotel. It was the top floor of Caltech, his private executive penthouse suite where he sometimes slept when work demanded it. "You carried me?" she whispered. Ethan nodded without hesitation. "You passed out in front of 20 people. You weren't breathing evenly. You were ice cold." His jaw clenched. "Of course I carried you." Her stomach twisted. I didn't mean to cause a scene." His head snapped up, disbelief flashing through his eyes. "A scene? Maya, you collapsed." Rain streaked the windows behind him, thunder rumbling like the city itself was restless. She pulled the blanket closer, suddenly aware of how fragile she must look, tiny in his oversized bed, wrapped in a duvet that smelled faintly like him. "I'm fine now," she murmured. "No." His voice dropped, deep and certain. "You're not." She looked away. His gaze was too intense, too knowing. "Ethan, I haven't been sleeping well. It's just stress. I'll be fine." "Stop." The word was soft, but sharp. "You fainted from hunger." Her chest constricted. "I didn't." "You did." His tone wavered again, the tremor betraying him. "I could feel it when I picked you up." Silence swallowed the room. He dragged a hand through his hair, pacing once before stopping at the foot of the bed. Maya had never seen him like this, uncomposed, unsettled, pacing like a man trying to keep himself from tearing at his own seams. "You should have told me," he whispered. She shook her head, voice weak. I didn't want anyone to know." "I'm not anyone," he said quietly. The words hit harder than they should have. Lightning flashed across his face, highlighting the shadows under his eyes, the exhaustion, the fear, the something else simmering beneath the surface. He sat on the edge of the bed, close enough that she felt the heat radiating off him, not touching, but dangerously near. "You scared me," Ethan repeated, softer this time, the truth leaking out like a confession he hadn't prepared for. "I walked into that meeting and saw you go pale, and his voice cracked a fraction. "I haven't felt that kind of fear in years." Her breath shook. He stayed there, silent for a long moment, shoulders tense as if holding himself back from something. This was too close, too intimate, too much like something neither of them should want. Maya forced her hand out from the blanket, placing it lightly on the mattress, not too near him, but close enough to anchor herself. Her voice was a whisper. "Why are you like this about me?" Ethan lifted his gaze. Intensity pinned her in place. "Maya," he said slowly, "why didn't you tell me you weren't okay?"
Maya woke to silence, the kind of silence that didn't belong in her life. Soft, warm, expensive. The sheets beneath her were too smooth, the room too large, the scent too clean. For one disoriented moment, she didn't know where she was. Then it struck her like a blow. Ethan's penthouse, his bed, his blanket wrapped around her. Her stomach dropped violently. She sat up fast, nearly ripping the duvet off. The rain had stopped. The city glowed through the floor-to-ceiling windows like 1,000 watchful eyes. Her heart hammered as she scanned the room, because sleeping in her CEO's private suite was not just a line crossed, it was a cliff. She swung her legs off the bed just as the door opened. Ethan stepped inside carrying a glass of water. He froze when he saw her out of bed. "You shouldn't be standing yet," he said quietly. "Why am I here?" Her voice trembled with panic she couldn't hide. His jaw tightened. "Because you collapsed and you needed a safe place to rest." "You carried me to your penthouse," she whispered. "Do you have any idea how that looks?" "I didn't care how it looked." "Well, I do." She stepped back, breath shaking. "Ethan, I work for you." He set the glass down slowly, as if a sudden movement might break something between them. "You're not in trouble." "That's not the point," she snapped, surprise flashing across her own voice. This violates every boundary, every rule, every—" "Maya." His voice was calm, but strained. "You fainted, I made a call, it was the only private place near the conference floor." "You could have sent me home," she argued. "You couldn't even stand. You could have called an ambulance." His mask cracked. "I didn't want strangers touching you." The admission hung heavy in the room. Too honest, too raw, too revealing. Maya swallowed hard. "Do you hear yourself? I can't get special treatment. People will start—" "Talking," he finished. "Let them." "No," she whispered fiercely. You don't understand. I'm already on thin ice. People already think—" The door swung open suddenly. Ethan's assistant stood there, eyes wide, cheeks pale. "I'm sorry, Mr. Hale, the whole floor is talking. Someone saw you carry her up here." Maya's heart stopped. Ethan's expression darkened, cold and lethal. "Who?" "Myra from accounting, and she told Kendra. I tried to contain it, but—" She swallowed. "Rumors are spreading fast." Maya's knees weakened. Of course something like this would explode. Ethan dismissed his assistant with a nod, then turned to Maya, but she was already stepping away. "This is exactly what I meant. I can't be seen as the girl who sleeps her way up." He flinched, as though the words bruised him. "No one with sense would believe that." "There are plenty of people without sense," she cried. "I don't know how desperate people are for a promotion here." He took a step toward her. "I'll handle it." "That's the problem," she whispered. "You shouldn't have to." She moved past him, grabbing her coat from the chair. His hand brushed her arm, light, hesitant, but she pulled away like the touch burned. Ethan's voice softened. "Maya, I'm sorry." She didn't look at him. Couldn't. "Just please, let me walk out of this room without anyone seeing. I don't need more rumors today." He nodded once, quietly. "I'll take you through the private elevator." She followed him through a narrow hallway to the staff lift. Neither spoke. The air between them crackled with something painful and unresolved. When the elevator doors closed, Ethan finally said, "You shouldn't go back to work yet." "I have to," she murmured, "because disappearing would only make things worse." By the time she stepped into the 23rd floor office, whispers spread around her like wildfire. That's her, the CEO's pet project. No wonder she gets special tasks. Kendra sat at her desk, tapping on her keyboard, eyes glistening with satisfaction. When Maya passed, she offered a smile dripping with poison. "Rough morning?" she asked sweetly. Maya forced herself not to react. She sat at her desk, inhaled slowly, and opened her laptop. Her project folder appeared on the screen, the same incomplete workflow she'd been developing for weeks. Except something was wrong. A new timestamp blinked at her. Accessed 6:47 p.m. yesterday. She'd been unconscious at that time. Her pulse spiked. She clicked into the folder. One of her development files, her early algorithm, looked slightly altered. Lines of code added, a few tags changed. Not enough to be obvious, just enough to suggest tampering. Her throat tightened. She glanced across the room toward Kendra's desk. Kendra wasn't typing anymore. She was staring directly at Maya, eyes sharp
and calculating. A cold realization dripped down her spine. Someone had been inside her files. Someone who wanted her work. Someone who wanted her gone. Before she could gather her breath, a notification pinged onto her screen. Internal message. Action required. Subject. Mandatory meeting. Compliance review. Time, 1:15 p.m. Location, Internal Affairs, Room 4B. Her hands shook as she opened it. Mina Carter, you are required to appear for an immediate review regarding a potential breach of company data. Her heart stopped. Her stomach dropped. Everything blurred around her. Kendra was smiling.
The walls of Internal Affairs Room 4B were too white, too bright, too cold. The kind of sterile brightness that made truth feel impossible and lies feel amplified. Maya sat in the center of the small conference room, hands locked together on the table, fingers cold and stiff. Two compliance officers sat across from her. One typed, one watched. And Ethan was not allowed in the room. She sat alone. "Ms. Carter," Officer Delgado began, flipping open a folder thick with printed pages. "You've been flagged for unauthorized access to proprietary development data and for suspicious code found inside your personal workflow files." Her throat tightened so hard she could barely breathe. "I didn't do anything. I don't even know what you're talking about." He slid a printed sheet toward her. "Here," he said. "Yesterday evening, 6:47 p.m., a login attributed to your employee credentials accessed your project folder and exported a segment of code." Her heart lurched. 6:47 p.m. She'd been unconscious in Ethan's penthouse at that time. "That's impossible," she whispered. "Someone must have—" "We know what you're going to say," the second officer, Ms. Harlow, interrupted. "But the system logs are not easily forged." She blinked rapidly, pulse hammering. "I didn't export anything. I was—" "Where were you?" Harlow cut in. She swallowed. "In the executive penthouse." Saying it made her entire body flush with dread. The officers exchanged a look. "With Mr. Hale?" Delgado asked. Her voice shrank. "I fainted. He helped me." The typing officer paused. Convenient timing. Something in Maya snapped. "Convenient?" She leaned forward. "You think I'd sabotage my own work? You think I'd cripple a project I've been building for months?" Delgado cleared his throat, tone cooling even further. "Miss Carter, this isn't about what we think. This is about the evidence." He pulled up a projected screen. Maya's blood froze. There were logs, clean, neat, dangerously polished. Her username, her credentials, her device ID, an exact export timestamp, network routing that matched her floor. Every path pointed to her. Every technical trail framed her as the culprit. "Someone faked this," she whispered. "They used my account. Your badge was also used to access your floor at the same time," Harlow added. Badge? Her badge? No, her badge had been inside her purse, with her. Unless someone... Her eyes snapped upward, horror crawling into her chest. "Someone stole my badge." Delgado leaned back. "So now your claim is that an unknown party tampered with your laptop, used your badge, and stole your work, all without leaving a trace." His tone made it clear he didn't believe a word. "And then," he continued, "this same unknown party leaked your unfinished code to a competing startup last night." Her breath caught. "Leaked what?" Delgado slid another printed sheet across the table. A snippet of her algorithm, unfinished. Her style. Her logic. Her work. Her throat closed as she stared at it. "That isn't a coincidence," she whispered. "That's exactly what we're trying to determine," Miss Harlow said. The door opened suddenly. Her heart jumped, but it wasn't Ethan. Not yet.
It was the director of compliance, Mr. Reeves, a severe-looking man in a charcoal suit. He walked in holding a tablet, his expression carved from stone. "Sit tight," he ordered. "The officers. We have additional review materials." He tapped the screen and the projector blinked to a new log. A signature file match. A match to her incomplete algorithm. Her breath shook. "Please, this isn't right." He glanced up. "You claim innocence, yet every technical record shows your digital fingerprint." "I didn't." She shook her head violently. "I swear, I didn't leak anything." He said, "Intentional or accidental, damage has been done." The room blurred. Only one thought broke through. What will Ethan think? The door opened again. This time, it was him. Ethan Hale stepped inside quietly, his presence filling the small room before he even spoke. His coat was off, sleeves rolled, jaw tense. He didn't look at her immediately. He looked at the compliance team. "Why wasn't I notified sooner?" he asked, voice deceptively calm. "We're following procedure," Reeves replied. "You are named in her statement, so you cannot participate." His eyes finally found her, and she saw it. The flicker, the smallest, painful, agonizing flicker of doubt. He masked it quickly, but not quickly enough. It cracked something inside her she didn't know was fragile. "Maya," he said softly, "just tell them everything." Her voice broke. "I already did." His jaw clenched hard. He looked torn, conflicted. The space between them felt suddenly endless. Reeves held out a tablet. "Mr. Hale, this is the leaked file. It came through an external IP originating from the same code sample present in Maya's folder." He took the device, staring at the lines of code. Maya watched his face as he traced each part of her logic, recognition blooming, then settling into something grim. He knew it was hers. His shoulders stiffened. "This is her work," he said quietly. Her stomach dropped. Not, "This is planted," not, "This is inconsistent," not, "She would never do this," just, "This is her work." A fact, not a defense. And Ethan Hale believed facts, even when they hurt her. He closed his eyes for one long moment, pained and furious with himself, as if he hated what the evidence was telling him, as if he hated even more that he couldn't blindly deny it. "I need to step out," he said abruptly, backing toward the door. "Maya, just hold on." His voice cracked. He left the room. The door clicked shut. She felt everything collapse inside her. Reeves cleared his throat. "Given the evidence at hand, we are preparing the preliminary report." Delgado's laptop pinged simultaneously. He opened the message, eyes widening before he whispered, "We have enough to terminate her." The words slammed into the room with brutal finality. Maya stared at him, hands shaking, world spinning, as everything she worked for, everything she survived for, began to crumble.
Ethan didn't go back to his office, didn't go to a meeting, didn't breathe properly until he reached the elevator and slammed the button for the executive floor hard enough to sting his finger. He hated himself. Hated that for even a second, one painful, disloyal second, he'd let doubt creep into his mind when Maya looked at him with those terrified eyes. He could still hear her voice trembling. "I didn't do it." He believed her. He always had. So why had he looked at her the way he did? He stepped into his office, jaw tight, eyes burning, every muscle in his body coiled. He went straight to his desk, pulled up the internal network, and began digging. He typed like a man possessed. Badge logs, server logs, firewall pings, credential access. He knew where to look. He built half of Caltech's security protocols himself years ago, before the board forced him to delegate. And at 11:48 a.m., 43 minutes after Maya's interrogation began, he found it. A hairline glitch,
a fragment of discrepancy in the system's badge swipe records. A swipe from Maya's ID at 6:47 p.m., but no door-opening event connected to her profile, which meant her badge was used, but she didn't enter. Someone held her badge to the scanner, then used their own access to get in. Ethan's pulse spiked. He dug deeper. Camera logs, motion sensors, ID sync packets. Then, on camera 23C, corresponding to the development wing hallway, he saw it. Timestamp, 6:48 p.m. Date, yesterday. Frame, Kendra Brooks approaching Maya's desk with a tote bag. Next frame, Kendra kneeling, reaching under Maya's chair. Next frame, Kendra placing something inside her tote, something badge-sized. Next frame, Kendra sitting at Maya's computer, typing. Next frame, the screen blinking with the exact file that was leaked. For 3 full seconds, Ethan didn't move. Then, a single thought ignited through his mind. Someone tried to destroy Maya, and I almost helped them. He shot to his feet, grabbed his tablet, and stormed toward the boardroom with a fury that made assistants leap out of his way. The glass doors slammed open with a force that rattled the wall. The entire compliance team and 3 senior executives overseeing the report turned sharply. Reeves frowned. "Mr. Hale, this meeting is restricted. Save it," Ethan snapped, striding to the center of the room. He connected his tablet to the projector with a single click. The screen lit up instantly. There she was, Kendra Brooks, caught in the act. Gasps filled the boardroom. Ryan and Marcy, also present, went pale as chalk. Reeves stepped forward. "This footage, how did you—" "That's not all," Ethan said coldly. He switched to the badge log inconsistency, the access trail, the misaligned timestamp, the forged credential history. Everything lined up, too perfectly, too deliberately. Kendra Brooks, Ethan said, turning slowly toward her, stole Maya Carter's badge, accessed her files, changed her code, and leaked it. Kendra's face twisted. "This is taken out of context." "No, this is context." He clicked again. The exported file log appeared, a custom code extraction tool, a style signature that didn't match Maya's writing at all. "I wrote the original code architecture for this system," Ethan said, voice calm now in a deadly way. "I can recognize a forged route instantly. Maya didn't do this." The silence was suffocating. Kendra's mouth opened, but the words never came. Reeves slowly exhaled. "This changes everything." "Yes," Ethan said, eyes icy. "It does." The board members exchanged looks, shocked, embarrassed, scrambling to reassess their positions. Ethan locked his gaze on Kendra. "You're done here." She paled, but Maya wasn't in the room to see her fall. And that mattered more than anything. He found her in a small waiting area outside compliance, sitting alone in a plastic chair that didn't belong in a building made of glass and steel. She looked smaller than he'd ever seen her, shoulders curled inward, eyes distant, hands clenched in her lap. When she looked up and saw him, her face flickered with so many emotions he couldn't name them fast enough. Fear, relief, pain, distrust, hope. "Maya," he breathed, but she flinched. Not dramatically, not in fear, but in hurt. It gutted him. He sat across from her, close enough that his knee brushed hers, gentle, intentional, but she didn't pull away this time. Her voice was small. "Did they decide?" "Yes," he said softly. "You're cleared. Completely. You did nothing wrong." Her breath left her in a shaky, broken exhale. Tears gathered in her eyes, trembling like they were asking permission to fall. "You knew that," she whispered. "Didn't you?" Ethan swallowed hard. "Yes, I did." "But you doubted me," she whispered, looking at him now, not angry, not accusing, just wounded in a way that made his chest ache. His throat tightened painfully. "I hate that I did." Silence pressed around them. He leaned forward, elbows on his knees, eyes locked with hers. His voice was low, raw. "Maya, I never should have doubted you, and I will regret that more than you know." Her tears slipped free. She wiped them fast, embarrassed. He reached out, hesitant, searching, and when she didn't pull away, he cupped her cheek gently. His breath stuttered. His thumb brushed her skin, soft and steady. "Maya," he whispered, every word trembling, "I care about you more than I can rationally explain." The air around them thickened. Her hand lifted almost without thought, fingers touching his wrist. Outside, thunder rolled across Manhattan. Rain streaked the glass walls. The world blurred and softened and swelled with tension. Ethan leaned in, too close, too tempting, too dangerous, and their breaths collided in the space where a kiss should have been. But he stopped. Foreheads nearly touching, hands shaking, hearts pounding, caught between desire and restraint, between what they wanted and what could destroy them.
The storm followed them up to the executive floor, but inside the penthouse suite, the world felt strangely still. Calm, even. Ethan unlocked the door quietly, pushing it open as if mindful of her exhaustion. Maya stepped in behind him, unsure, her arms folded instinctively across her body. The room was dim. Only the soft glow of under-cabinet lights in the kitchen cut through the dusk. She took a slow breath. It smelled faintly of coffee and warmth, so different from the cold white of compliance. "I thought you might want something warm," Ethan said. His voice was low, steady, but there was a fragility beneath the surface she'd never heard before. "You haven't eaten." She didn't argue. Couldn't. A quiet hum filled the space as he stepped into the kitchen area and rolled up his sleeves. For a man who commanded entire corporate empires, he moved with surprising ease here, free of tension, less guarded. He opened the fridge and carefully pulled out eggs, spinach, and leftover roasted chicken. He set a small pot on the stove, igniting the burner with a soft click. "You cook?" Maya asked, trying to fill the silence. "When I'm anxious," he admitted. It settles me." She blinked. That wasn't the answer she expected. He didn't look at her as he chopped vegetables, each movement precise, controlled. Maya stood near the island counter, watching the way his shoulders finally loosened, how his breath evened out. Steam rose from the pot, filling the room with the comforting scent of broth and garlic. The quiet stretched between them, but it wasn't empty. It was warm, heavy with things unsaid. When he finally turned, he carried a small bowl toward her, setting it gently on the table. "Try," he murmured. Her hands trembled slightly as she lifted the spoon. The first sip warmed her throat, her chest, her ribs. She closed her eyes for a moment, relief washing through her like a tide she hadn't known she needed. Ethan leaned back against the counter, arms folded now, watching her with an intensity she'd never heard before. "You're good at this," she whispered. His mouth curved. Not quite a smile, but something softer. "I'm glad." She ate slowly, letting her body remember what nourishment felt like. Ethan didn't move from his place, didn't break eye contact more than a few seconds at a time. He just stayed, present, grounded, with her. At one point, her gaze met his, and he held it, not demandingly, not possessively, but with a kind of quiet reverence that made her heart flutter painfully. "I'm sorry," Ethan said.
His voice cracked almost imperceptibly. For yesterday, for today, for all of it. Maya set her spoon down. You don't have to apologize. Yes, he said firmly, stepping toward her. I do. He stopped in front of her, close enough that she could smell the faint spice of his cologne, close enough that her breath felt unsteady. I should have defended you immediately. I should have trusted you against evidence that was clearly too perfect. His jaw tightened. I didn't, and that's on me. She exhaled shakily. You fixed it. That doesn't erase the moment I doubted you. His voice dropped to a raw whisper. Maya, I am not proud of that moment. She looked down at her hands. He reached out slowly, giving her time to pull away. She didn't. His fingers brushed hers, light, careful, almost apologetic. And I swear to you, he said softly, no one will ever frame you again, not while I'm here. Her breath caught. The promise wasn't loud, but it was fierce. It wrapped around her like armor. Ethan, she whispered, I'm scared. His hand tightened gently around hers. You're safe. Silence. Deep, warm, soothing. She didn't pull her hand back, and he didn't let go. The storm outside softened to a drizzle. The city lights flickered across the glass, turning the room into a quiet cocoon. Maya didn't kiss him. He didn't kiss her. But their closeness felt like standing at the edge of something neither of them could retreat from. She wasn't ready to trust him fully, not yet. But for the first time since everything fell apart, she felt the faint shape of safety forming again, slowly, tentatively, like dawn. Ethan exhaled, his thumb brushed the inside of her wrist. Stay a little longer, he murmured. Her heart ached at how easy it was to say yes, but just as she opened her mouth, a sharp buzz sliced through the quiet. Ethan stiffened. The sound came from the counter, his phone lighting up the dark granite with a harsh, unwelcome glow. He released her hand slowly, picking up the phone. His eyes flicked to the screen. His face drained. Color vanished from his cheeks. His posture went rigid. Maya's stomach twisted. What is it? Ethan swallowed hard. His voice was barely above a whisper. It's from HR.
Ethan didn't speak at first. He just stared at the HR notification glowing across his phone screen, jaw locked so tight the muscles trembled. Maya stood frozen beside him, half rising from her chair, one hand still near her bowl like she'd forgotten how to move. Ethan? She whispered. He turned his phone toward her. Her breath stopped. HR investigation notice. Subject ethics complaint E. Hale and M. Carter. Her name. His name. Linked together in bold black text like a sentence. What is that? She breathed. Ethan didn't answer. He opened the attachment with a single swipe. The text spilled across the screen. Accusations. Inappropriate relationship. Misuse of executive authority. Favoritism. Breach of ethical conduct. Violation of employee CEO boundaries. Maya shook her head before she even finished reading. No, this is insane. Who would... Ethan's voice cut through her panic. Quiet. Heavy. Dangerously calm. Kendra. She swallowed, but she barely got removed before... HR processes are slow. She filed this before the boardroom confrontation, Ethan said, eyes scanning the report. She planned this. Maya's knees weakened, but against you. Why drag you into this? He exhaled, slow, long, controlled, like a man holding a hurricane inside. Because she realized taking you down wasn't enough. The next page loaded. Submitted evidence. Still images of Ethan carrying Maya through the elevator hallway, blurry, zoomed-in surveillance from outside her apartment door, a time-stamped video of him in her building lobby, the grocery bags, the slip and catch on the marble floor, the moment in his office Kendra walked in on, heavily edited footage showing only fragments of their interactions. Without context, each moment looked intimate. With context, they looked worse. Maya's chest tightened until she felt her pulse in her throat. This is all twisted. None of this is what it looks like. Doesn't matter what it looks like, Ethan said quietly. HR only needs enough doubt to launch a formal review. He scrolled again. Recommendation: temporary suspension pending full investigation. Maya's floor tilted. Suspension? Of both of us? Ethan nodded once. She wants to discredit the CEO of Caltech. Then she'll get you removed. For now, his eyes hardened. Maybe. But permanently? Not a chance. The tension in the room thickened. Anger from him, dread from her. Maya pressed a hand to her forehead. Ethan, I don't know if I can go through another investigation. I barely survived this one. He stepped closer. Not touching, not crossing a line, but close enough for warmth to reach her. You won't be alone this time, he whispered. Her eyes lifted to his. He held her gaze, steady, unflinching, determined. This isn't about your project anymore. This is about power. Maya swallowed. Power? Kendra isn't just jealous. She has allies, people who want a crack in this company, any crack, to weaken me. So this was a setup, not just at me, but at you. Exactly. Silence stretched, thick and humming with everything unspoken. Maya forced air into her lungs. What do we do now? We respond, Ethan said, together. Her heart thudded. Together? He nodded once, slow, deliberate. She's trying to ruin us both, so we fight this as a unit. The word unit sent a flush through her, sharp and confusing. Before she could speak, his phone buzzed again. One vibration, then another, then two more, rapid and insistent. Ethan glanced down and his face drained of color. What is it? She whispered. He didn't answer first. He just stared at the screen, jaw-flexing, expression turning unreadable. Then he turned the phone toward her once more. New HR message. Additional complaint filed. Attached witness statements. Witness statements? Maya's voice broke. Who? He lowered the phone slowly, eyes darkening with something deeper than anger. Maya. His voice was a low, steady gravel. They're not trying to fire you anymore. He stepped closer until his shadow touched hers. They're trying to ruin us both. But why? Why escalate? Why go this far? He stared at her, long, hard, with something like fear beneath the steel. Finally, he spoke. And they're not finished. The words hung heavy, final. Until another thought sparked in Maya's mind, sharp enough to make her dizzy. Ethan, she whispered slowly, how did they get that footage of you outside my apartment? He froze. The rain outside pressed against the glass. Lights flickered across the skyline. His eyes locked onto hers, something flickering in their depths, a question, a memory, a puzzle only he knew the shape of. Maya, he said, that's what I'm trying to figure out. A beat, a breath, a silence that promised danger. And if this ending gripped you, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the truth about who's watching Ethan and why. End of part 1.